Hey guys, welcome to the Yongsan Esports Stadium here in Seoul, South Korea. I am Doa, that's Monte Cristo, and today we get one step closer to finding out what Korean team is going to take that final spot from Korea to go to the LOL Season 3 World Championships in LA. Today, CJ Frost versus KT Bullets. It is a Champion Summer semi-final rematch. And I don't know, do you think Frost is going to be able to get some revenge, not only for themselves, but for Blaze, too, from yesterday?
Well, yeah, I mean, we saw these two teams play earlier this week in the tiebreaker match. Now, Frost won 2-1, but Insect did not play for the KT Bullets, and the Bullets looked a little out of it as well. Frost looked pretty strong coming into the matches. So it's a little hard to tell what exactly we're going to see today. We've seen this matchup a lot so far in the last couple of months. They were in the same group in Champion Summer, then they met in the semifinal, then they met in the tiebreaker, and now we're seeing them in another best-of-5 here this evening. So far, the KT Bullets are up 5-3 in the last few outings. So
yeah, I mean, you have to say that the momentum goes with the Bullets this time around. I mean, and really kind of every time around so far, the way they beat them, you know, already in the semifinals of last season, the way they crushed Blaze yesterday. And I think you're right. I think we can't read too much into what happened on Wednesday this week. I think the Bullets have this one. I'm going to call Bullets on this one.
I totally agree with you. You know, after the convincing victory that the Bullets had yesterday, I think it's probably going to be a 3-0 or a 3-1 for them. But let's take a look at some details about this very exciting Season 3 World Championship.
Oh, yeah. A lot of cool venues, including the Staples Center at the very end. Of course, this will be happening a little bit later this month, starting on the 15th. 10 teams, two-group full league. Two-group full league sounds like it's a
double round robin.
Oh, I know what that means. I know what it is, Monte Cristo. Just sounded like a cool band name or something. I don't know.
I like it.
It's a rap group. That's what I've decided. All right, well, there's some of our teams that have already made it. As you can see in Korea, though, we know Najin Blacksword is going. We know MVP Ozone is going. But we don't know who that third team is. It's going to be either CJ Frost, oh my gosh,
the
KT Bullets or SK Telecom, of course. Of course. And today, we'll see one of those teams get eliminated, Frost or Bullets, and then, of course, they have to go on to face SKT tomorrow. And what's really crazy about all this, too, we already mentioned this earlier this week, but KT Bullets are essentially redoing the last few stages of summer of the Champion Summer with this.
That's right. It's actually a repeat of the playoffs. Back just a few weeks ago, they had to beat Blaze, then Frost, and then they were in the finals, which they lost to SK Telecom T1. But they have a chance to redeem themselves, and so far, they beat Blaze. Now, last time in the quarters, they went 3-2, barely beating Blaze in 5 games. They moved on to beat Frost 3-0, but a 3-0 victory against Blaze yesterday, and the Bullets looking to see if they can repeat their 3-0 against Frost today, or Frost may be able to pull this one out. They did beat them earlier this week.
I feel like it is possible. Like I said earlier, I really think the momentum is on Bullets' side, but Frost is a stronger team right now than Blaze was. So we can't just say because Bullets beat Blaze, they'll beat Frost. Right now, it looks like Blaze is having some really serious problems as a team overall. There's our bracket, but you've seen already. I want to keep talking about this. Frost is just a stronger, much stronger team right now, so this one could be a bit closer.
And we have critical differences between the rosters in the last couple of matches.
Yeah.
In the tiebreaker, no Insect. In the semifinal, they played Rapid Star instead of Gank by Mom, and frankly, in my opinion, that was a large reason why they lost so hard. Rapid Star couldn't hold his own in lane against Ryu. That sucked Cloud Templar into mid lane frequently to save the turret from going down, and then the rest of the map kind of fell apart after that.
Yeah, they really do need Cloud Templar moving around the map, making plays early on, which is kind of a change for him from the regular, but he's kind of gone well with it, you know, when he gets the opportunity. But yeah, Rapid Star not letting him do it too much in the last outing, but today, Gank by Mom will be playing in mid lane, so Frost maybe going to be looking a little bit stronger in that regard. We've got a full house today. I'm not talking about that show from the 90s.
Thankfully.
That's right. That's a great, what are you talking about? That was a great show.
I prefer the
I can't believe you just dissed Full House in front of me,
I prefer the
Monte
poker
Cristo.
hand to the show, that's for sure.
All right. Well, one certainly can get you a lot more money, I suppose. But, guys, we're moments away from getting into game number 1, Picks and Bans. But first, before we do that, let's take a look at each of our teams today in this best of 5. And first, we'll go with one of the most consistent teams in the history of Korean League of Legends. It is CJ Frost.
And, of course, the second-place finishers at the World Championship last year.
Yeah.
And they've got to win a couple more best-of-5s if they even want to make it back. We are living in a world where the first and second-place teams from last year, TBA and Frost, could not be at Worlds this year.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy to think about. But again, I kind of like it. I like that the scene can change so much, the metagames can change so much. It keeps it very fresh, very interesting, but it will be a little bit weird if Frost isn't there. And there's the roster, of course. Shy in that top lane, Cloud Templar in the jungle, ganked by Mom in mid today, and Space and Mad Life down in the bot lane at AD carry and support.
So, since we're playing on patch 3.10a with that buffed Trinity Force, the Trinity Infinity,
Yep.
Trinity Insanity,
Trinity Infinity.
whatever you want to call it, this is actually a really interesting change because Shy is a leader. He's the captain of the team. He has excelled in playing carry top laners for a long time. And of course, he's one of the most famous Jax players and most skilled Jax players. And that's a champion that's really coming back with the new Trinity Force, ganked by Mom, showing off his bow tie right there.
Oh,
what
yeah.
a trademark. But
that's right. I always expected to be red because he dips in the blood of his enemies.
but coming into tonight, Shy does have more carry potential than we saw in previous patches throughout the playoffs when Zach and Shen were a little more high priority.
Well, that said, they have a strong opponent to go through in KT Bullets. There they are. And these guys have been on a huge roll all the way through Champion Summer. Yes, they did lose in that heartbreaking Champion Summer final, but they are back. They crushed Blaze yesterday, and they are looking good. There's Insect on the end. Heard through the grapevine that he's still feeling a little bit under the weather. He's actually a little bit sick, but trying to come through for his team today. His dad's in the audience as well, so he wants to perform. Kakao, of course, in the jungle. Ryu in mid lane. Score at AD carry, and Mafa at support is the rest of the team.
Score and Mafa had a hell of a night yesterday.
Oh, they look fantastic.
They just annihilated Hermes and Lustboy in lane. They're looking very strong. The return of the Trinity Force has also really helped Score because he can go back to his staple champions, Corki and Ezreal, and man, is he good on those picks.
Oh, yeah, that bot lane was just like a joy to watch. Mafa had really, really good zoning, too. Really good poking as a support player as well. He had a great Zyra going yesterday. We'll see if he can recreate that today. And I think it's time, guys. I think we're about to get into picks and bans between KT Bullets and CJ Frost here at the OGN Gauntlet. I guess you could call it the Season 3 Korea Championships. Makes sense. We'll call it that.
All right, we're going to
go,
get
guys.
right into picks and bans. And Fiddlesticks going down immediately. Now, I assume we're going to see the Thresh and Blitzcrank bans. These were the bans that KT Bullets innovated against Frost in the semifinals to prevent Mad Life from carrying. Now, if this goes to a Game 5 tonight and Mad Life can get his hands on one of those really powerful pick-oriented playmaking supports, we may see a Frost victory. I think Game 5 is very dangerous for the Bullets.
Yeah, Frost's generally very, very good at those blind pick games here. It does take a very different kind of strategy, and Frost seems to kind of make it work. There's a Shen ban as well, so is that final ban going to be Thresh? Are they going to leave Sona open for a first pick? Mad Life is looking very comfortable on that, but not a carry support need. They're going to ban Sona.
They have a plan.
They do. Oh, absolutely. You don't let Thresh stay open.
Well, the Z is open, so they put CJ Frost in an interesting pickle right here where the reason why is because there isn't a Z ban coming down, so they will pick the Thresh away right after this. They're forcing either Gank by Mob, who's really primarily a Z and Ori player, to take it or let Ryu have it. Ryu, one of the top Z players here in Korea, and they will grab that Caitlyn Thresh lane in response.
A very, very strong lane. And what is Mad Life going to play? I mean, no Fiddlesticks, Zyra, Sona, Blitzcrank. I mean, Alistar, an option, but usually something Mad Life only pulls out on special occasions. And a game 1 of a best-of-5, not exactly the type of game for Alistar to come in. So we'll see. He could still play it, but I don't know.
I have to give some props to the KT Bullets. This was a very smart way to go through the picks and bans.
Yeah.
They're not that worried about Gank by Mom Zed. I think that Ryu is a better Zed player in general than Gank by Mom is. But by taking away that Thresh, they got basically another free support takeaway from Mad Life right here.
Well, shutting down Mad Life with these support bans has been just kind of the Achilles heel for CJ Frost lately. And will he adapt? I mean, will it be Lulu? Nami is still open, I guess, but there's that really popular Vi and Ari combo we've been seeing lately.
Shy looks like he's going to be playing Zed in the top lane.
Yeah.
So we do have a very, very powerful pick composition. This is about as hardcore as you can go into a pick composition. Taking 2 assassins and Vi. They want to make those plays around the map. They want to set up those kills and then take the objectives afterwards.
Well, Vi combined with Ari and Zed just basically insta-gives anybody.
Right, we've been calling the Ari, ever since last week, I mean, this happens very quickly, these picks filter out, but the Ari-Vi combination, we've been calling Charming Battery, because once that Assault and Battery goes down and you follow it up with the Charm, it's nearly a guaranteed kill.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, Vi becomes like an aimbot for Ari's Charm. It's hard to miss it. If you miss it after they're hit with Assault and Battery, then maybe probably shouldn't be a pro League of Legends player. And there's that Lulu. Okay, so I was kind of wondering if we're going to see this. I mean, Lulu just a very versatile support and also goes great with a lot of champions that are going to be diving deep in team fights. But are we actually going to see Soraka? I was going to say Lulu would be a better pick, but maybe a Lux.
Support Lux would
more
be,
damage. I could see it.
It also sets up picks very nicely.
Yeah, it does.
You have that. You have a bunch of skill shots that slow and root, so it does add to their composition. Lulu probably a safer choice here. Combos nicely with Vi in a team fight because you know Vi's going to be getting into the line.
Yeah, what do you say about Ezreal versus Ashe in this case?
I think Space is just a better Ezreal player. We don't see a lot of Ashe here in Korea. And Ezreal with the new Trinity Force is very strong now.
Yeah.
This last pick coming in, Ryu on Fizz, he's been excelling at these assassin champions, and that is going to be a Renekton for Insect. He was underwhelming. He got pretty much schooled by Flame as Kennen.
Yeah. You know, I was going to say I wasn't
yesterday.
terribly impressed with his Renekton last time we saw it. He is going against Zed, though, this time.
Well, we'll have to see if his... I felt yesterday when he played that he was too reluctant to go for those all-ins and really play very aggressively with Renekton's early game late kill and late bully potential.
Yeah, well, we'll see if he's adapted a little bit in the top lane. Renekton, played by Insect, as we just talked about, then Shy on Zed. Cloud Templar, this time playing Vi in the jungle. Cacao on Elise in the mid lane. We have Ryu on Fizz, ganked by Mom on Ari, down at 80 carries. Space on Ezreal, Score on Caitlyn, and finally at support, Mad Life, Plague Lulu, and Mappa on Thresh. It's going to be a very interesting game number 1.
The thing I'm most interested in is how these lanes work out, because Score and Mappa should be able to do pretty well in a 2v1 against Zed, and Renekton does have that little bit of sustain to preserve him underneath the turret with the Cultivate. So I think that the 2v1 advantage probably going to the KT Bullets here. When they have Caitlyn and Thresh, you create those huge zones. Very difficult to defend those turrets early on in the game.
We'll see who takes game number 1. It is a best of 5, so plenty of games no matter how this first one goes. But it's time, guys. The game is loading up. Frost versus Bullets. Let's get the game. That top lane Zed. Set 1, CJ Frost versus KT Bullets. Of course, the winner of this best of 5 goes on to face SK Telecom tomorrow in that deciding match to see who gets the 3rd seed for Worlds here from Korea. Korea, of course, getting that 3rd seed from their all-star performance in China earlier this year.
And
we'll
look at
see how this level 1
Mappa.
goes.
Yeah, he isn't starting with the Scout Award nor the Biscuit, so he's probably spec'd a little more aggressively.
We've been seeing this a lot more often lately in Korea.
Especially with Mappa.
Yeah.
So he's a player that...
Cow sending that Spiderling into the brush.
Yeah, smart there. Glitter Lance will miss. KT Bullets going for a bit of an aggressive play early on here. Can't quite get that ward. Actually, Insect there failed to use his stun in order to get the extra auto on it. Was a little bit out of range by the time it went invisible, but now if you have this Caitlyn and Thresh lane and you have Renekton on your team, the KT Bullets will probably push hard for their dual lane to go up into top. because if you can kill that top turret quickly and then have Renekton in that bottom lane, because Renekton is such a strong, he's very good at taking an early dragon with his ultimate, but it looks like Insect's going to head up to that top lane. So if you push very hard with Caitlyn and Thresh in top lane, take that turret, immediately rotate to dragon. When Renekton's there, you pop the Renekton ult, easy dragon, especially against CJ Frost, which is going to take some ramp time. They need items. Ahri and Zed need a few items in order to reach that maximum assassination.
Looks like everybody's playing it pretty safe early on. The Doran Shield starts for the top laners, and the Flask and Pot starts for the mid laners, so everyone a bit cautious in this game number 1.
Space and Mad Life trying to 2v1 Fizz in mid, but they're not going to have any of it. They've already read this situation. Ryu heading into that bottom lane.
So if you look at this 2v2, like I feel like today it's going to be a much bigger test for Score and Mappa than yesterday.
Oh, absolutely.
Easily.
Yes, easily. And, I mean, we thought that it would be a little harder yesterday, too. Hermes does have some issues with nerves in the booth, we hear, so that may have played into it. But the level to which they lost lane was pretty astounding yesterday. We certainly expected a higher level performance out of CJ Blaze.
Yeah, it was a bit sad. And Insect already taking quite a bit of damage in that top lane from Gank by Mom, but he does have the pots. No more, but...
Well, Doran's Shield offering that incredible amount of sustain right now, so he'll be all right, especially with Renekton's innate sustain also. So the dual lanes sitting there in mid, and Mappa and Score looking to ride that momentum that they gained yesterday. And they were certainly the standout players. Insect did have some trouble against Flame, but Mappa and Score...
But who doesn't really?
Fair enough, Doa.
Having trouble against Flame doesn't really mean you had a bad day. This means you played Flame. And that mid lane getting pushed up a little bit, but everything equalizing once the minion wave shows up. So Cloud Templar, when is he going to make his first move? Has those double buffs.
You know, this is a bit of an awkward lane setup for the KT Bullets. Typically, Kakao, he really likes to focus most of his energies onto mid and top lane, and he rarely comes to help out Score and Mappa in their lane. So by having his mid and top lane split on either side of the map, it does make his gank routes a little bit longer.
Yeah, and Kakao coming up to this top lane now. He sees how Gank by Mom pushes up the lane. He knows Cloud Templar is probably going to be there, and he's right. So if Cloud Templar makes his move, Kakao should be able to help out. They're a bit far away, though. Insect slicing and dicing away. He's low health, but he should be able to make it. Kakao thinking about coming in, but yeah, I feel like the health for Insect a little bit too low to fight this right now.
Yeah, they do have to be careful, though, because if Renekton can close that gap with Elise, they probably have a stronger 2v2. There's, Elise with an early game champion like Renekton, you pretty much can't get better in a 2v2 all-in situation early on than that. But Insect...
Oh, Insect very low. Wow, down to just 130 hit points there.
And this is not good for the KT Bullets. They got this early lane bully champion, and Ahri, before she hits 6, before she has that Spirit Rush, she's not very good in a long lane because she lacks a lot of escape mechanisms, and she relies on that.
Oh, Kakao finding Cloud Templar in the jungle here. He's going to do some damage. Cloud Templar backing off a bit.
Yeah, I think that validates right there the strength of Elise.
I think so too.
Compared to Vi. We haven't seen Vi in a while here in Korea, of course. Played over in Europe frequently by Aaron Hay from Alternate, but...
And this last week, though, Vi has really come back in style. And Score trying to get away. Whimsy there, space very low. Mappa doing some damage. Thresh actually has a pretty good chunking ability with that auto attack. Nice dodge on the cocoon from Gank by Mom.
But look at this, Doa. Score and Mappa already crushing it so far this game.
Yeah.
We've seen them pushed all the way up to the Frost turret. And the lack of sustain in that lane from Mad Life with the chunks they're getting on Space. Space also out of mana right now and down by 15 CS in less than 6 minutes. This is starting to look a lot like yesterday.
Yeah, it sure is, man. I mean, Score and Mappa are really establishing themselves as one of the best bot lanes in Korea right now. I mean, they're right up there with Ozone and SKT, and yeah, that's why we saw them get to the finals. Cloud Templar coming in, though. They're going to try to gank him. Score jumped on immediately. There's a knockback, takes the ride out on the Lantern, waiting in the brush, doesn't want to use that flash unless he needs to, and he doesn't. Kakao coming down. Score back in lane already.
And what's so interesting about Score and Mappa is we always talk about them, how passive they are, but ever since the finals, really, of Champion Summer. We've seen the KT Bullets get more aggressive in the ways that they weren't before. They used to be very passive at level 1. Now, against Blaze and against Frost, earlier this week, we saw them with much more aggressive, deep warding, and even kill level 1 strategies. And Score and Mafa coming out of their shell a little bit and being much more active with trading than we used to see them. So I feel like they're really developing a deeper playbook, and that's making them quite dangerous.
Well, one thing about the KT Bullets that I've always liked is although they do have setbacks every once in a while, it seems like they're a team that just constantly gets better every time you see them almost. And I feel like they look improved now, even to just a week ago in the grand finals of Champion Summer.
Yeah, and their long-standing strengths have remained, too.
Yeah.
They're still incredibly good at Dragon and Baron control, probably the best team in Korea at that regard. They always seem to know exactly how long it'll take as Kakao comes in for the game.
Yeah, it's coming down. Will they be able to get that cocoon? There's the Living Shadow. He waited to use it, couldn't quite get it on him, and Zed will escape, doing the ninja thing like he should. Zed's a good ninja.
He is a good ninja.
He can get away. He can be deceptive.
So, to return to that, their objective control, what amazes me about the KT Bullets is they seem to know always exactly how long it will take to do Baron or Dragon, how fast they can sneak it, and when is an appropriate time. They nearly always take it uncontested and manage to win the vision around those pits.
Yeah.
So they always floor me with their play calling in that regard. Oops.
Oh,
Cloud
whoops.
Templar
Cloud
took the blue
Templar.
buff.
Oh, man.
Well, that'll be a little bit of a delay. Not anything too bad for GVM, but
a little bit annoying to deal with.
Especially when Ryu does have one here in the bottom lane. And once again, Ryu getting a fair amount of farm. He's keeping even, and this is exactly where you don't want to be against Fizz. Fizz gets very strong with just that Lich Bane, and so you have to keep it off of him as long as possible, because after that point, his damage just goes through the roof. And he also gets very effective at split pushing because of how fast he can take turrets with that item.
Yeah, no, Gang by Mom is 6. He has his ultimate, so it's going to be tough to catch him in this top lane. Insec and Kakao, though, waiting in that river brush. There's Insec showing himself, but I don't know if KT is going to get a lot done with this. We'll see. There's, oh, the cocoon misses, and this is over already. There's the charm, yeah. Gang by Mom not having to use any summoners or ult.
Yeah, nice job getting the charm off, though, right before that Renekton stun came in.
So. Yep. Very true. Kakao will retreat back into his jungle. And so Insect looking a little bit stronger on Renekton today, although now he has to pop his ultimate, gets jumped on by Vi. As soon as I say it, he gets ganked. Will he be able to get away? Flashing, using his stun, Kakao coming in, but it's going to be first blood for Gank by Mom. Repel coming down, can Kakao get some revenge? No, the flash from Cloud Templar secures it. Really nice gank from CJ Frost.
That's the danger of Vi. She can hit you from so far away, especially when she hits 6. If you chain that Vault Breaker straight into Assault and Battery, it's really, really difficult to ward against that. And especially when you have that combo,
whoa,
Space gets caught with the hook.
Yep. Mad Life's like, hey, that's what I do. The space hook. Kind of like the sky hook, only it's in space.
That's right. That's for all you Futurama fans out there.
That's right. Or basketball fans.
Okay, well, I mean, Space and Mad Life have normalized a little bit in this mid lane, but that's a pretty stark difference in terms of CS.
Yeah.
And
we always know how the Starks end up.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's no good.
It's true.
You're a Frost fan now.
It's true. Winter is coming.
For Frost fans.
That's right. That's good, though, for them. Well, Insec is hanging out by himself in the top lane for now as Gank by Mom makes his way back up. That valuable river ward. And, I mean, other than the gank attempts, this game has been fairly quiet across the board, but, I mean, this seems like a kind of a theme in Korea. We are moving into a more lane phase-oriented game here.
That's right, and generally what we've seen over the last couple of seasons of Champions has been a slow shift into pick comps and split pushing comps and fast push comps, and that's exactly what we're seeing right here. The KT Bullets, they want to split push a little bit more. They've got that Renekton. If they end up building that Tiamat on him in order to shove the lanes very quickly, they've got that Caitlyn as well, using that early game range advantage to poke down the turret, and the mid turret getting already pretty darn low for CJ Frost. Well, the other side of that is we have Frost going here with this very heavy pick composition. They really want to lock people up and assassinate them before taking objectives.
Yeah. And it seems like KT, you know, we do see them go down a little bit in the early game once in a while, but they always seem to come back with those objectives. And speaking of objectives, Dragon being taken right now, Glitterlance does connect, but not quite enough. You can steal Dragon with Glitterlance, but it's pretty rare. I've done it once.
You've done it once.
Done it once.
With Glitterlance.
It was 100% skill. And I'm sure Mad Life could do it if he has it.
This is exactly what I'm talking about with the bullets, though. They budget the precise amount of time in order to get those objectives uncontested and get out scot-free. And that's just going to be more gold in the bank for Score here. Already picking up that BF sword. He's got a pretty significant advantage on space in the trading department at the moment.
Yeah. And a little bit of damage on that mid lane turret, but nothing KT is really worried about. They do have that tiniest of gold leads right now. It's Shy. Oh, gets caught with the cocoon. There's the ultimate from Fizz as well. That ninja is going to the afterworld.
He disappeared pretty quickly. I guess that means he's a good ninja.
I guess so. I mean, that's the thing. Is like, does Zed ever really die? He just kind of either goes into the ground or vanishes. I think he's actually just showing He just needed a break.
Well, he'll be back in a few minutes anyway.
That's right.
So. And by a few minutes, I mean 15 seconds. But yeah, Ryu there showing the power of that Sheen. Got it pretty quickly. He's doing a really good job on a champion that's difficult to farm with. Insec gets into a tussle with Cloud Templar in the jungle.
He needs to run too. He gets ulted, and now ganked by Mom coming into the Spirit Rush. Insec out of position, gets out. Oh, doesn't get on the Lantern. What a wild growth from Mad Life. An amazing play. I didn't even know you could break Dark Passage with a wild growth. That is so cool. Mad Life, man. I learn something new about support every time I watch him.
So basically in this game, we were looking at 5 support champions taken away from Mad Life. The 3 that were banned, the Thresh that was early picked, and the Fiddlesticks that was banned by Frost. And yet he's still able to come up with these plays.
Yeah. This is Mad Life. This is why he's the best support in Korea.
Okay, well, 13-minute Lich Bane, though, on to Ryu. And this is kind of a moment of truth here for the KT Bullets.
Yep.
They're nearly got that mid lane turret down. Leaving another lane for a second against this Viz will result in tremendous tower damage.
Oh, yeah. And it looks like CJ may respond here with this top turret. Cow coming in and trying to save it. Gank by Mom. Doing some damage, but Cloud Templar on the run got very low. The turret will go down. Cow putting the fear of spiders into Cloud Templar anyway. Oh, wow. Do they? They didn't notice he went into the bush.
Yeah, a little bit sloppy
Lucky
there.
break there.
Not to check on that one, but look at this. They're aiming for a dive right now. Score and Mafa creeping through the jungle. They want to reverse this tower in response. True shot barrage.
Checks the bush. It does see him. Very, very nice by Space. Space really a master of the Ezreal ultimate. Shy very low here. And there's the flash. Oh, Ryu doesn't quite get it. Whoops. Oh, well. Thought he could get the kill with the flash. Wasn't able to do it.
Well, he does push him out of lane, though. Yeah. So that is a bonus right now. He will be able to increase that farm that he's gotten. And this
he did get the flash out of Shy as well, too. So
Ryu really been playing a nice Fizz here.
Yeah.
You have to be so careful with this pick. And, of course, we see it a lot in the European LCS. But you need to delay Fizz because he power spiked so hard with this Lich Bane. And we can already see Shy having a very difficult time dueling him.
Yep.
Able to dodge a lot of that damage from the Death Mark.
And gank by Mom. Continue to farm here. Insect coming up. He pops his ultimate. He actually wants to try to go in on this. I don't know about that.
Bit of a sloppy play there from Insec.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he just doesn't look comfortable on Renekton.
He doesn't. Again, we saw this yesterday. He doesn't really seem to know the limits of the champion, and so he pops his ult at weird times.
And speaking of ults being popped, Shy, they try to protect him with the wild growth. Looks like it will work. That's a giant ninja. Kakao not able to really participate in that gank at all.
Well, he just took a giant chunk of unanswered damage out of Shy right there, though, and that was a lot of resources used for that bottom lane, while the rest of the lanes continue to get shoved, and we pretty much have Insec and Score free farming in the other 2 lanes.
You know, and throughout all this, even though they're down by a kill, we do see KT Bullets starting to edge ahead in golds with all those objectives. Now they have the jungle control. This is just what KT Bullets do.
Yes, this is them in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult to ban them out because they can run these fast push strategies in every conceivable way. They found my favorite was that game 2 in the Champion Summer Final where they used Tristana maxing explosive shot and building static shift first. I've never seen that before, but it was a really, really good solution and an unexpected one of how are we going to shove all of these lanes really, really hard.
Yeah, it's rare that you see a team be so successful and so experimental at the same time.
Yeah, their theory crafting, their knowledge of how to use champions to execute strategies, in my mind, is unparalleled in this country. And we see, again, Score, he's going for that Bloodthirster. This is not a team fighting, Caitlyn. This is one where you want to stay topped off in lane and get that extra damage early because you get a faster power spike and you can just stack that Bloodthirster. Of course, you're not going to be getting those crits on the turrets either, so you just really want to shove hard and early and make sure you're constantly at full HP during a siege so that CJ Frost can't remove you from the turret.
Yeah. And Dragon will be back very soon, I bet. And KT setting up those wards, setting up for the Dragon. Cloud Templar, though, he does have oracles, so he'll know about a lot of these wards, be able to clear out some of them. Oh, Death Sentence does miss. Oh, Cocoon misses, too. Whoops.
A little bit of a skill shot disaster right there for the KT Bullets. Are they going to go in?
They're neat going on to Score immediately. There's a good wild growth as well, but CJ immediately on the defensive here. They need to back off. Shy coming through, gets exhausted. Insect very low. The Cow in trouble now. Has to repel away. Shy waiting for him to come back down. They do get the kill onto Cacao. Answers back though onto Cloud Templar. And here comes Fizz. 2 kills already for Ryu. Insect though has to go back. He's too low. Ryu on the run as well, and this is going to set up a Dragon for CJ.
You'll notice Score immediately goes to the mid lane. He's trying to sustain up so they can contest that Dragon if they try to do it. Yeah. But with that 2-for-1 trade, KT Bullets come out on top once again, and they'll be able to head back to the Dragon Pit, regain that vision control, and Score getting another little bit of free farm. And that just puts him even further ahead of Space. Space now picks up that Trinity Force, but still finds himself about 40 CS behind.
Yeah. And there we go. KT now going for that Dragon again, but nobody really in position aside from Shy to contest this one. Will they try it? True Shot Barrage is ready for Space. I've got a feeling that he's going to try to steal it. There we go. Comes through. Doesn't quite get it. Ryu with that burst, able to finish off the Dragon.
KT Bullets looking really methodical, really crisp tonight, though.
Yeah, they're looking really good. They look like they want to get to that match against KT, or against SKT, rather, tomorrow. They want another crack at those guys. And how about that? Like, how cool is that we may have a chance to have, like, this will be like our weekly SKT versus KT best of 5, if that's how it turns out.
Well, the last one was pretty thrilling.
About that.
So.
Oh, what a great best of 5. What a fantastic finals, too. If you guys haven't seen the VODs for the finals of Champions Summer yet, definitely go back and watch those. Really great series.
Insec.
Uh-oh. Insec gets caught immediately. Already just gets bursted down. That's just a gift.
And that's how you make a crocodile burst.
Exactly. Those are no crocodile tears from Insect. Those are real tears.
So, Frost. They've always been a strong team in terms of team fighting. They have never been the best team at running skirmishes, at running pick compositions. They operate best on target calling and efficiently playing in 5v5 team fights. So the current way the metagame has evolved here in Korea is actually pretty antithetical to their play style. The KT Bullets play a very PvE style where they will gladly trade kills very aggressively as long as they're the ones who end up with an objective. So they will throw themselves at you underneath the turret if they're confident that they can go even, send you back to base, and then take the tower over it. Or the KT Bullets will just ignore the other team entirely and rotate very quickly around the map and wait till the other team makes a rotational error, which leaves that objective undefended. So they also play a lot of these assassins because they're great for split pushing and they're great for holding these turrets or killing one person while they're trying to defend. So I feel like Frost has kind of fallen into a position where the way League of Legends is played right now, the champions that are strong really don't suit their play style.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking, or you were talking rather, to Cloud Templar the other day. I came in on the end of that conversation. He was saying how frustrated he was right now with kind of the current meta situation here in Korea. He really doesn't enjoy it.
No, he doesn't. And he was complaining quite a bit to me about the situation with the picks and the split pushing. And of course, you know,
it's not their style.
It's not their style. It's not his style. It's not his passive herbivore jungling in the early game where he can just farm up and then make those great initiations late.
Well, this is a kind of a moment in Korean League of Legends history where teams like Frost are going to need to adapt. You know, they're going to need to change things up, and I think that's what's really going to make good teams here, is that the ones that can survive these types of phases in the metagame are really going to be the ones that last a long time. And I feel like Frost, you know, is weathering the storm quite nicely. They have this chance to still get this final seed to Worlds. We'll see if they can do it. There's a missed charm, though, by Gank by Mom.
Well, while we're waiting for some more of these, basically what we're seeing right now is a contest of vision control here, as Mad Life has been pretty aggressively sweeping, and the KT Bullets need to get an edge. And there we go.
Oh, Ace comes down. A lot of damage right on the Gank by Mom. Oh, man. He died so fast.
Ryu did a nice job of slipping the fish in between those minions and actually landing it onto GBM right there. So a nice pick will result in a tower as well for the KT Bullets. Just barely. Death sentence. Gonna miss Mad Life.
Mad Life! Oh, wow, he just evaporated.
Wow, really questionable positioning from Mad Life right there. That is not a mistake you see Mad Life making very often.
Very uncharacteristic, and I mean, that's the type of mistake you see when someone hasn't played a certain champion for a while.
So, to return to talking about styles here in Korea, because it's interesting as we go through the rest of these qualifiers. SK Telecom, they're a champion. SK Telecom makes the plays, though. They make the plays. They play all the assassins. They are playmakers. Are they the best at controlling objectives? No. But are they insanely mechanically good across the board? Are they really good at making picks?
Incredibly entertaining.
Incredibly entertaining. Will they out 1v1 you? Certainly. And so that's where they kind of differ. KT Bullets is a more strategic team. SK Telecom is a playmaking team.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you put it in like basketball terms, KT is kind of like your standard, really good professional basketball team, and like SKT is like the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yes, I agree. Well put. And now we're going to see that Dragon coming up again soon. Frost.
Yeah, we may have a fight here.
Scrambling to get there in time. But difficult to do Dragons when there's a Renekton there.
Yeah.
5v5 fighting with CJ Frost's composition. They need to make a pick. They need to catch someone on the edge, and that's what they're going to do.
Oh, they're going to try. Yeah, Kakao gets caught, takes a ride out on the Lantern, rather. Now Cloud Templar in the Dragon Pit, a little bit trapped here, getting very low. Insect comes down in case the rest of them engage. Shy on the outside of the fight, just poking with the Q. Takes a lot of damage. There we go. They're going to get Shy. And KT with a big edge already. That should secure them to Dragon. Yeah, CJ just has to back out.
Yeah, there's nothing they can do right there, Toa.
Yeah. No true shot barrage right now, too.
They use so many ultimates in order to not even get a pick, to not get that Dragon right there.
Shy looks a little bit uncomfortable on Zed as well, I think.
We've seen him play Zed before, but not in a little bit.
Yeah.
And I agree. He doesn't look very comfortable. And Cloud Templar does have a bit of tankiness to him right now. But he is behind in terms of just getting that armor, MR, and HP compared to Kakao. And Gank by Mom finds Mafa all alone, and you can't do that with the DFG, Ari.
Yeah, if you're a support and you come in contact with a Korean mid laner right now, you will just immediately die. That's just kind of what happens. If you're a support player in Korea, just stay away from the mid laners. I don't care if they're Ari or Zed or whoever they are, just stay away.
Yeah, let's take a look at that again. Gank by Mom while Mafa trying to clear wards around the pit right there. He even got the exhaust down. Still too much damage coming out. Gank by Mom with a nice play, though. Coming over the wall with the Spirit Rush. It was not used in that Dragon fight earlier.
Oh, Insect has to pop his ultimate and his flash to get away in mid lane.
And look at this. We see that Spirit of the Ancient Golem coming down on Insect as well, giving him that tenacity as well as a bit of extra cooldown reduction right there. And it's going to help them do those objectives even faster. You know, we've seen the KT Bullets in the past build 3 Spirit Stone items and just shred Baron.
Oh yeah, they love to be able to sneak those Barons in. If you want to do that, you have to be able to kill Baron quickly. And that's what they do. Oh, another fight down near the bot lane. Ryu all over Cloud Templar. No chance for Cloud Templar.
That
And
damage
Ryu's
over
just out of
time.
control, man. He's already got his Zonias, too. Oh, boy. It's now a 6K gold lead for KTB. Looking pretty good.
If you don't control Fizz early, you can expect this to happen.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't have a lot of choice because even in that mid lane where the duos were, the AD carry and support, Space and Mad Life couldn't hold them. They were constantly losing the trades. They lost that turret first. So how do you deal with this? Because Caitlyn and Thresh, if you put them against a solo lane, well, they're just going to win even harder. A little check there with the True Shot Barrage.
Yep. They waited for it. Now after the True Shot Barrage goes through, that's their cue. They're going in.
Such a smart move there. You'll notice, too, that the KT Bullets were standing out of the way of the True Shot Barrage.
Yep.
So they wouldn't get checked at the same time.
They
Trying
knew
to
where it
sneak
would
this
come
one
through.
out. And
Oh,
look
man.
at those double Spirit Stones doing work.
They're in slow, but here comes CJ Frost. They do catch Mad Life. They disable him for a little bit, toss him right into the box. They get the Baron. They get Mad Life. They trade supports, but here we go over the wall. Cloud Templar taking some damage. Meanwhile, Shy trying to hold up the team in the back lines. Insect gets taken down. A double kill for a gank by Mom already. Cacao coming in. Score a little bit trapped here. CJ not doing too bad, but Space finally gets taken down. A double kill again for Ryu. That Baron power is so strong. It's 2 for 4. And gank by Mom trapped in the bush. Here comes Ryu.
A beautiful dodge there on that charm. Wow.
Whoa!
And that's Fizz with Lichbane for you, Noah.
Yep, nice Peacemaker from Score 2. Getting a little bit of that assist gold, wanting to add a little bit of damage on.
Yeah, Ryu just demolishing Frost this game.
Yeah.
Mad Life back up now. The lanes were pushed out, so we did see Frost do a good job of shoving lanes before that.
Oh, Mad Life. Mad Life just immediately instigated by Ryu. You just cannot get close. The thing is Lulu usually relies on Glitter Lance and Whimsy to get away, and with Playful Trickster, it's so hard to land those on Fizz.
And we've said this before, but if you lose sight of that Baron for a moment, you have to assume that the Bullets are doing it. And again, right there, they mind gamed them. They knew the True Shot Barrage would come in. They knew there were wards there.
Yep.
And then look at this. Perfect timing on the finish of the Baron 2, right before the engage. Couldn't have been better for the KT Bullets. Take out Mad Life immediately. They lose Mappa. Ryu pursuing from the side, though, and he'll just go ahead and land the fish, jump the waters over the wall, and then he comes around for a flank right here from the back lines, trying to get onto the carries. Killing Insect really isn't a prize right now. He's already down. And then look at this Score with some beautiful kiting coming back, and then the 1-2 whammy from Ryu off of that Playful Trickster.
Yeah. Man, Ryu. This looks like a solo queue game for Ryu. He's 10-0-1, just pub stomping here in game number 1, and looks so excited, as always.
Well, if you're Frost, too, and you're going into this game, the next game of this series, because right now the KT Bullets have just a massive
10K
lead.
gold lead. I mean, with Baron, it's pretty enormous.
Well, and also there are other questions too. How are you going to kill Ryu at this point? He has Sonya's Hourglass. He can basically two-shot anybody on the team. There's no one really with HP on CJ Frost.
No tanks.
There are no tanks to absorb any of those cooldowns. So Ryu, that's one of the big reasons why he's just running amok this game, is that there was a late Aegis. There's still no lock-in for CJ Frost. And other than that, there's no MR on this team. Not even Gank by Mom with an Abyssal Scepter or anything like that. No MR besides the Aegis. You're not going to live long against an AP assassin like this.
That is a Fed Fizz. There goes the inhibitor. I don't think there's a lot that CJ can do to stop this, and there's not. There it is. And one inhibitor down now for CJ. Meantime, they're rotating around the mid lane. CJ Frost just really cannot engage this KT Bullets team at the moment. They need to do something. They need to try. Charm does hit Mappa, but nobody there to engage. In fact, I believe the Living Shadow for Shy was actually missed a bit. And there goes the turret. And Shy gets hit with the Fizz ultimate. He goes down so fast. Ryu chasing down Cloud Templar. Gank by Mom comes in with some damage, but it's not a lot.
Well, that combination
that's
there, too, with Chump the Waters and Ace in the Hole, pretty devastating at this stage. When you have these two carries so dead.
Oh, goodbye, Gank by Mom. Wild Growth won't even save you this time. And there go the Nexus turrets. Soon the Nexus will follow. Two-shot barrage coming through. Ryu a little bit low on health. Will KTB be able to close it out right now? They're going for it. Insect zoning. There goes the final Nexus turret. The Nexus getting low. Winsy on Insect. But it's 3-4 right now. 3-5 rather. There goes the Nexus. And GG, KT Rolster B with a dominating game 1 against CJ Frost. Ryu's like, yeah.
I died at the end.
Every other day.
He actually managed to die at the end.
Oh, boo. He's like, well, there's no KDA award for this. It's okay. Ganked by Mom. 6-3-1 on Ari, but just not becoming that big force that CJ needed him to.
Well, GBM did a pretty solid job of dealing with Insect up in that top lane, but it just wasn't enough. They couldn't control Ryu, and that's a really big problem. And if you're Frost going to the next game, well, Score and Mappa are still on an incredible hot streak here, outlaning a team very hard for the second day in a row. So what do? If you put them in a 2v1, they're just going to take your tower faster. And if you put them in a 2v2, you still lose to them in trades. And that opens up Ryu to have a very favorable one-on-one with a champion like Fizz, where he gets to free farm, hits a power spike even faster. It's a conundrum, I think, for Frost.
Yeah, and I mean, the way they've been able to just shut down Madlife so completely with these support bans, I mean, Madlife is going to need to really diversify his support role at this point, diversify his champion pool. And the thing is CJ will need to adapt around that as well. Like, shutting down Madlife this hard hurts the entire team, not in just that Madlife can't play who he wants to play, but that the support players he'll have to play require major composition changes from Frost.
Yeah, I agree. And also we saw Frost playing this pick composition, not their style, but we'll see if they've got any tricks up their sleeve after we come back from the short break.